For joining me today in the business spotlight. I've got the fabulous, the talented, the amazing Zoe from Ask Zoe. And just in a moment, when I start firing questions at her, you're going to discover some of the reasons why she is a business consultant with a difference. So let's get into it. Thank you so much for coming here today.
You're welcome, lovely. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, listen, right back at you, right back at you. Well, she adjusts her glasses.
Shall we?
Why did
So we're
you?
matching today, aren't we, with the pink and the glasses?
She adjusts her glasses. Why did you decide to start your business? Tell me about that.
So I decided to start a business. Actually, I originally wanted to create my own business back in 2006. I went into an internship over in the States, and one of my projects was to look after this very, very busy weekend. Just to give you a picture, we did 94 hours literally that week. That's how busy that weekend was. It was Halloween weekend, and I decided to do a project within it. So my boss loved me for that. But at the end of it, I remember my friend Alice, who's still a good friend now, she just said to me, "You would do this every day of your life if you could, couldn't you?" And I said, "Yeah, if I could take this right now, what I've created, back into the UK, I would be a happy bunny." But back then, it wasn't known for entrepreneurship really within college settings or university settings. So I went into the traditional route of employment, which was to get a 9 to 5. And I was successful in working with the Hilton Group, really enjoyed that. I then moved into commercial property because I was headhunted for that role through a recruiter, really enjoyed that. And it was actually that employer, my line manager, who saw something a little bit different. And he said, "I know you do events part time, which I do, family, friends. It was kind of a paid hobby during that time. Have you thought about going, we support startup businesses. Have you thought about doing it?" And I said, "Well, actually, I do run, the events that I do through a part-time business. So it is established." And he said, "Well, what's the progression? Do you want to move or do you want to stay here?" And I said, "I want to stay in this location." And basically, to cut a long story short, he just said, "It's now or never." And he said, "It's now or never, kid." And it's what my dad always used to say. And I just thought it was a sign. And I rang my brother and he said, "So another employer is telling you, you need to do something on your own." So I would agree, go full time, Zoe, and see how it goes. But that was a year to the day of the lockdown. I went full time self employed on the 23rd of March 2019. And on the 23rd of March 2020, we all know what happened.
Yeah.
Boris got on the telly and told us to stay indoors. So, as you can imagine, like with an events company, so for those listening, if you haven't guessed yet, this wasn't the original business. The original business was Fab Events. I innovated that to be Fab Events and Marketing Strategies because that's what I used to do for BizSpace and go in and help them with their marketing predominantly, and obviously support the teams in Hilton with sales, events, and marketing. And my coach at the time said, "Yes, events are no more, but what else are you good at?" And this is what else I'm good at. And 18 months about after lockdown, I realized 5% of the business was online event management. The rest was showing businesses how they could do the same. And that's the reason you share, obviously, I'm a business consultant with a difference because I'd say I'm not a traditional business consultant. I've not sold my business for multi-million pounds, or I've not sold it, for, six figures or anything like that. I just had a business. It went down to £150 in the pocket, and I reinvented the wheel and made the business established again. And that's how I position myself as a consultant with a difference because I've got that applied experience with micro businesses, wanting to grow. I know how that feels. So a lot of people like the fact that it comes from a genuine place, I believe.
Yeah, well, and I know from a content perspective in 2024, we're seeing that people want to know about your actual experience. And I think that that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Being at a place of zero, having not been, having had a successful business, and then and then actually building it and being able to show people how to do that is such an amazing talent, you know. So
And I think as well, because I don't say that I can do it all myself. That's important. You do meet, business consultants who will say, I'm the master of everything. Nobody's a master of anything. I don't believe anyway. And if you are, please introduce yourself. I'd love to connect with you. But I think what a lot of people like about me is that I identify ideas, I identify where that can create impact. I tell them what to do, when and how. And then if I don't have the skill set to deliver that strategy for them in terms of implementing it, I will bring on my network to deliver that. So they always get kind of genuine service. I believe. That's what I try to create anyway, like, genuine, authentic, and, bring on the right, consultants and the right, implementers to get the job done at the right budget as well, because
yeah,
it's a very cloak and dagger space. A lot of people have this debate, I'm sure you'll agree, Elaine, with shall we share the pricing? I had that on Friday. Someone said, oh, should I just go to your website to get a price? I says, I can tell you the price now. And he went, oh, that's quite refreshing. I was like, the price that I give you is no different to the price that I will give the next person. So this is the price. Go onto the website, have a look. If you like what I'm about, reach out and we'll see what we can do. And I think a lot of people like that approach.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So tell me, speaking of people who work with you,
Mhm.
what do your clients say happens? So after that person starts working with you, that you referred to, like what happens? Like what's the feedback? What do they say? Oh wow,
Mhm.
um, we didn't realize that this would happen for us, but like that is the impact of working with Zoe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it all starts with a conversation. That's what everybody gets. They got a free discovery call, and from that, I will generate you at least probably 3 ideas, subject to the size of your industry and the size of your business. At least 3 ideas to help you, and to give you an idea of how I work, how my brain ticks, and the ideas that I can generate. And one or two things will happen. They'll either go away and they'll have success with them ideas. So, like Laura from Davenport, VA, she had a 1 hour session with me. From that, she attracted her biggest client. Rang me up, said, I can't believe it. You said it'd work, but I probably had to trust that and have the confidence to deliver that. And soon as I've started moving in them circles, Zoe, things are happening and I've attracted. And I'm like, great. Then she came on and worked with me more. She needed that. She needed that confidence to, go ahead and invest more into herself and in a business. On the other end, after that discovery session that I am, what can deliver some results. And that can be done in like group sessions, as you can see, or the hub, or one-to-one strategy. And the results that people get are always varied, because I'll always say the strategy is the same, the 4-step consultancy, but the outcome is always different because it's to do with you as an individual first, always starting with your why. And also it's your goals as well, nobody else's. And it should be your goals. Yes, you're going to be influenced by family, you're influenced by friends, but actually you've got to come back to you, because you govern everything within your business, within your why and your purpose. So I'll give you an example. I've been working with a website developer, and he came onto an Ask Zoe strategy day. And on Friday, he gave me a call to let me know that he'd just signed his target client for Q1. And he was more or less 90% sure on a second contract that would give him the full Q2 target in one. That to me is what I want them to achieve. It's what I strive for, that they have a relationship with me on a business level, that they can call me to celebrate when they get their targets from what they've set out in them intentions and them consultancies. But I've had everything up from 300% return on investment up to 18,000%. And a lot of people say, oh, that's an unrealistic target. That lady bought a national network through the brand and the marketing, not just me, but other people in her network helped her deliver. Yes, I gave her the idea and the concept, but because of that, it was a ripple effect, and she was able to get a 700% return on investment in the first year, which, results in £30,000 back into the business. But then within 3 years, or should I say 2 years, because it's 3 years now, she bought a national network. And that's where the 18,000% comes from. Because, we want to be with our customers for the long game. Even if they just use our services for a year, we're still invested in their business, forever, normally. Forever, what will be. But we want them to be successful, whether working with us or not, because we believe everyone has a longevity. They'll need our support until a certain point, and then they need something else. So yeah, results are varied, but it's about doing a good job, and them doing a good job and bringing in the results for their business is what I strive for. A little bit like a cheerleader.
Yeah, sounds like it. So, what part of your business do you enjoy the most then, do you think?
I love being with people, and I love generating them ideas and seeing that light bulb moment of someone thinking, right, I can do this. And I'll give you a perfect example. The first ever client that I got on with self-employment for Fab Events was Katie Ford. And Katie Ford used to call me the fairy godmother, because I used to come in, deliver the concept and the vision for her events, and then be there on the day, all the way from event management from beginning to end. And I remember the first meeting with Katie, and I always had a sketchbook when I used to do events, because normally it's that visualization, getting it from your head onto paper. And I sketched out what she was sharing with me over this, couple of hours session. And I turned the sketch around and I said, "Is that what it looks like?" And she was like, "I don't know how you've done that. How the hell have you done that? I've been procrastinating this for 18 months. How the heck, in a 90-minute session, have you just sketched that out?" And it wasn't just one singular event, it was a series of a 10-week series of activity. And I said, well, that is what I do. That's what I love. I love getting this onto paper and, delivering the results. We had a session last week on Wednesday, and we was talking about the involvement of the business, because she works with me now on, strategy, because we've got that relationship. And she was just, again, sharing what she wanted to create, and I sketched it out again. And I turned it round, and she's like, "You are seriously like the USB to my brain." And I love that. I love that saying. And I literally said it into the networking group that I was with on the Friday. And I was like, "Look, I'm anything from a genius to a USB, or even a fairy godmother. So if you want that type of vibe into your business, I'm probably the consultant for you." But that's the best way she could describe it. It's like, I plug into her brain and draw out everything that's important and that needs to happen, and now she can visualize it. If you can't visualize it, you can't proceed forward. And that is what I love. That's what I love. I love seeing that light bulb moment and someone saying, "Yeah, that's it," or "Yes, I've got the results, so I can go on to the next one."
Brilliant. Ah, yeah, that is so clear. Um, oh, fascinating. Well, then the next question I want to ask you is, because it just sounds like you really inspire people to take action. So then where do you get your inspiration from? In business, who inspires you?
um I think there's many people in business that inspire me, all through from mentors. At Caroline, for example, I've seen her throughout her business journey, in the past 8 years, and she inspires me to kind of, keep, multiplying and kind of keep striving forward. My nan, and she's not here anymore, but she was my biggest motivator. I remember when I wanted to go to New York for the internship, my nan went, "Sock it to him, kid." My mum's the other side of the brain saying, "Yeah, go for it, but how are we going to afford it?" Very logical. And my dad were like, "We'll find a way, don't worry about it." But my nan were like, "Yeah, sock it to him, kid." You know, I've always wanted to go to New York, and she had, and always wanted to go to the Statue of Liberty, and you know, that type of motivation. And she supported me within work as well, like telling me when, you know, things weren't going right and how to invested, and giving me that time to be like, have a cup of tea with her on a Saturday and be like, now what's wrong? Nans always know, don't they? So yeah, many mentors, and coaching as well. John helped me, you know, enormously throughout lockdown, and, you know, innovating for the better. But yeah, you know, I think you seek inspiration from others in business and your clients as well. But above anything, if my nan wouldn't have said, "Sock it to him, kid," I don't think I would have gone on that journey. That led me to, you know, where I am today. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. These powerful women in our past. They're so important.
Yeah,
So important.
yeah.
Well, then, like, let's speak about paying that advice forward. Like, what advice would you give to a new business on like how to find clients?
It's all to do with, in my biggest top tip, if you want to try and find clients, it's all to do with what is the pain that you solve and who do you solve it for. So, you know, I remember this question when I was innovating, and they were like, "So, what is it that you do, Zoe?" And it took me ages to actually verbalize what I did, because I did many things at that point. I did marketing and I did events, I did project management, I did many multiple, you know, hats within that, within my network, and you know, supporting. I've even worked in a photography studio before doing sales calls. I literally was probably trying to be too many things, I think, in that beginning, but it was a transition period. I'd gone from obviously having an events business to what was now going to be. We just didn't know. So I had to go to basics, and I had to ask myself, what is it that I actually do? What is it that I solve for people, and who do I solve it for? And my biggest top tip to anybody, if you can't answer that question, is to look back and ask the top 5 people you've enjoyed working with, because enjoyment's a big thing with most. What is it that I do? And everything that came back to me wasn't, "Zoe, you did events." That's a given. It was, "Zoe, you inspire me, you innovate, you're visionary, you're well organized, you're the fairy godmother, you come in and it's just done. You know, you take away stress, you give me back time, you add knowledge." You know, so I was like, right, okay, so how else can I apply that, and who can I apply it for? And then when I looked at who I was speaking to, I realized I had a commonality. And it was actually Adrian Waite that shared this with me, because I did a bit of a feedback. I said, "Can I share with you the type of businesses I'm currently working with for you, as someone who knows me but doesn't know me? Who is it that you think my target audience is?" And he just came back to me and said, "Professional services." Every single person you have mentioned there offers a professional service to a B2B client, whether that be HR, legal, financial, accountancy, you know, IT. And I said, "Okay, yeah, you've got a point." So now I say, "Hi, I'm Zoe Wadsworth of Zoe, and I help professional businesses who want to bring strategy, growth, ideas, and make an impact into their business through their marketing. I'm a business consultant with a difference, and this is how I deliver it." You know, I'm more direct. So the more direct you can be with that question about how to generate more leads and how to bring more clients into your business, you know, the better it comes back to you. You've got to be very reflective. And don't say, please, guys, and I know a lot of people do this, and I don't mean anything by it, but please don't say you help everybody, because you may be able to help everybody, but not everybody wants your services.
Yeah,
And
so
that's the
true.
difference. And everybody knows everybody. So how can they think and visualize somebody that they can refer to you, or that may need your support and services? So for example, um, we had an health insurance delegate come onto one of our sessions. And the results he's created in his business is like 380+% now. So normally I would say, if it's in a setting where I know there is, you know, brokers, in a professional services in the room, I'd like to tell you the story about Michael. Came onto the Ask Zoe strategy day after being within the hub for 2 years. He came because he needed to know a process on how to bring clients into his business through his marketing strategy and through his business. He did that as quick as 48 hours after the strategy session took place. So if you are looking to generate more business, I can help. And people will either think she's talking to me
Yeah,
or she's
exactly.
talking to the mate that I speak to at the pub or at the last networking event that I might be able to put an introduction in place. The more you can give an example, the more you can generate leads into your business. But you can't do that if you don't know who you are, you know, the pain that you solve and who you solve it for. So
Yeah.
please be, you know, if you don't want to say, you know, you don't want to be so niche, just give an example of who you've helped and that will, you know, help you tenfold.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice. So, talk to me now about something that you haven't enjoyed. Tell me about, because I always think that's a good one for new
Yeah,
businesses or even businesses who are trying to level up
yeah,
and everyone's giving them different advice. You know, I hear this a lot from my clients. They're like, oh God, Elaine, like everyone was telling me to do different things until I started working with you. And then I just went, right, boom, I'm going to follow that. And I always find that there's something on the way from like where we are at one level to success, however we visualize that success,
yeah.
that is something that we just didn't enjoy. And sometimes people just persist with it. And I always feel that's a wrong idea.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
there something in your business, a strategy you employed that you were just like, no?
Um, well, because I go through the four-step process in my own business, that's how kind of the conversation came about with Zoe, how are you managing to stay open, you know, in lockdown? And I explained this four-step process that I apply. So I kind of go through them steps, Elaine, you know, in terms of looking at your why, what's your purpose, what's your drive, what do you most enjoy, you know, outsource what you don't, look at your market, look at your opportunities, look at your gaps and then making sure that aligns with your vision before you put it into action, which is the fourth step. I would say what I probably didn't enjoy, you know, when I did the events business is I was saying yes to everybody because I felt that that's what I needed to do. Because when you're in startup or you're running it part time, you just want the money, you know, and as crash as that might sound, that's really all I was focusing on. I was working full time. I was doing what I could part time. So I was just focusing on, you know, getting the money and no matter what that was. And I remember when I look back in some cases, I kind of quoted a third of what I should have charged. You know, when you work it out to the amount of hours you apply, I was working for like minimum to agency hourly rate, which for anyone who doesn't know is literally 10 to 15 pound per hour. And that's without taking any of the expenses off, you know, that it takes to get to them venues and run them events and, you know, the time it takes to put them events on. So really, I suppose when I look back, I may in certain situations have been that busy fool. And I remember trying to increase my costs with, and that's what I really didn't enjoy in the beginning, increasing my costs with a client who was coming into its third year because I kept his pricing fixed for two, which again, you shouldn't do unless you've done your research and checked that that's what you can do with your market and your pricing because everything goes up. We know that, guys. Come on, we're in an era now where everything's increasing daily, never mind yearly. Um, and he just lit. I remember him saying to me, "Well, what am I going to get for that extra money?" And I was like, "It's not what you get extra; it's the value I've already received. I'm just now charging appropriately." And you know, I remember him fighting me on that, and it was a £50 increase. He was literally fighting me on a £50 increase. And, you know, it taught me a lot. You know, I don't hold anything against that because, you know, it's his business and he has budgets and, you know, P&Ls to accommodate. And yes, at the right time, when I think about it, that was literally the beginning of 2020. You know, lockdown was coming. You know, no wonder he was kind of, you know, pushing back a little bit. Um, but now I know my worth. and I know the results that I deliver, and the price is what it is. That's why I can confidently say now, I can tell you the price, it won't change if you speak to me now or you speak to me next week, because that's important transparency for me. So, in terms of what I didn't enjoy is probably, that learn, which we all have to go through as business owners, I believe, learning what it is you should be charging for your worth. Because I used to charge per hourly rate. I don't do that now. I charge on
Yeah.
the value that I can provide that person or that team, and the results that I can, deliver with that. So, that's been a challenge in itself, and what I really didn't like in the beginning. But you do kind of learn the lessons the hard way on pricing strategies, and things you don't enjoy. You wish you could pay somebody to do that for you, probably in the early stages of business. And I'm sure people listening to this probably will resonate. But
Yeah.
do your research. Yes, on your pricing and your strategy that I bring and the results and the impact that I can have on that client and that business. And 9 times out of 10, and this is the reason I say I can guarantee 100% return on investment. It's not just about monetary, it's about value, because I've
Yeah.
not once yet had to have a touch wood, give a refund in business.
Yeah.
Yes, I've
Definitely.
had people, bat heads with me on, the pricing, but I've never had one person say, okay, I'm going to pay you for that now, I want a refund. But
No.
that's because I believe we go that extra mile with, that care and attention and that customer journey, and making sure we're pricing accordingly for the value, and we're delivering that value as well. So it was
Brilliant.
a tough lesson, but something that we think we've got
Yeah. Yeah,
to achieve
definitely.
on.
And I think that's such a great thing to share with people is what you said at the top of that was too many yeses. And I
Yeah,
think you need to be aware of the fact that it's okay to say no. And I
yeah,
think at certain levels of business, business owners are afraid to say no, but it's okay. There is something better going to come into that space if you let it. So
yeah,
that is great
definitely.
advice.
So,
So tell me now, I'm going to move on to the next question.
mhm.
Um, because connection is so important to me, and I just know it is to you too.
Yeah,
Um, it's been central to the success of my business, and I know it has been central to the success of yours. So
yeah,
I want to speak a little bit about that. I want you to talk to me a little bit about connection and how
yeah,
it affects your business, if it affects you. I know it does.
yeah,
How does that getting to know people,
yeah,
because I have this thing about playing the numbers game, and for me, I don't like it. I just think it's BS.
yeah.
I feel like connecting is a better strategy in business. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Tell me about that for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just having a look there to see if I could get one of my business cards, and the first thing it says is "Let's connect."
Oh, go
And
on. There we go.
I remember when I first put it on, someone said to me, "Oh, so are you a networker?" I says, I am a networker, but that's not what I do. I says, the reason I say let's connect is because I believe that's important. I don't just want you to go and put this in the bin. I want you to actually connect with me and engage with me and see, if we can, create a relationship, because that's what it's about. And actually, it kind of ties in as a perfect example with what we've just shared there, Elaine, about, saying no. Um, I have had clients in the events sector come back to me and ask if I can help them again. And it's not that I can't help them, it's just that I don't do event management anymore. I do more project management, and I work with different suppliers on events now. It's not just me, because I've learned the hard way that you can't deliver, a project on your own. And I remember Hannah coming back to me and saying, Zoe, I really want to work with you again. Can I? And I said, it's not that you can't, but I just operate things a little bit different. I use my network in terms of the connection to put you in touch with the right person. So what is it that you need? And she just shared what she needed. She basically went, I just need you, but on an admin level. I says, no problem. I've got people in my network who do event administration. I'm going to put you in touch with a lady called Rachel. And I put them together and they had that conversation. That wouldn't have happened without Let's Connect, because I met Rachel in the beginning of lockdown doing online event management, found out we knew each other quite well. It's not a big world, it's a small world, that's for sure. And she's in Calderdale, I'm in Yorkshire, we met up, we did collaborative things together. And I know her well enough now through connection and through building that relationship to put her in touch with the right opportunities, as much as I know my client to put her in touch with somebody else that can look after her well. Things won't happen if you don't have connection first, because it's like I say to everybody, people buy from people. And I always give the analogy, if you went into a desert and you had a line of people in front of you that all looked the same, dressed the same, all had some jewelry or some sand or some jewels to buy, who would you go to if they all looked the same? And it's probably through smile and through body language and through connection that you'll pick somebody out of a lineup to go and have a conversation with first. That is connection because you can connect through your eyes, you can connect through your tone and your voice, your body language. If you all look the same, how do they know which one to come to? I've used that analogy with the Eskimos and the ice before, and everyone goes, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I'm dyspraxic, guy, so I talk through imagery, and the point is the same. I may be a consultant, a business consultant, but you can line up loads of different consultants next to me, and we can all offer you in business. But why would you come and speak to me? It's because the connection that I have with you. Or why would you refer to me? Because of the connection that I've got with you. And it's imperative. Like, who doesn't want to work with somebody they know, like, and trust and have that connection with?
Yeah, so true.
I personally don't want to work with faceless brands. I don't want to work with, on an email with somebody and that's the only connection that I have. This is connection. Myself and Elaine know each other very well. Elaine's been on my podcast, to help me with, networking events. So it's about, collaboration and connection for sure. And, we wouldn't be called Ask Zoe if that wasn't a core value of ours, because when we were rebranding, I remember me thinking, well, what else can I call myself? And everyone said, well, the term that comes to mind is speak to Zoe when I think of you. And then I was working with a brand expert called Claire Froggatt from Make a Brew. And she said, well, how about we take that and adapt it to Ask Zoe? And that's where it came from, through connection and through feedback. And, I'm forever grateful for that.
Brilliant. Yeah, I just think it's invaluable. That's so interesting. I'm going to be so interested then about your next answer to my next question, because I have a mantra stroke bugbear, which is like that I really believe people need to act like humans on social media. I just feel quite often the disconnect for people when they say to me things like, oh gosh, social just doesn't work. And honestly, so I started my career life as a TV buyer. So I
Yeah.
know that, like, I know how much media costs, and the fact that you have something that is it gives you access to like so many markets, and you would consider not using it, just for me is just bananas. And I think that the reason people don't use it is because they forget to act like an actual human when they are there. So that's my, like, when I get up on my soapbox, I'll just climb back off it now. Um,
Yeah.
do
It's
you
good.
have something that is like, this is, I will die on this hill, like this is my mantra,
Yeah, well, it's very similar because I know a lot of people shy away from it as well because they're scared of it because it can be quite overwhelming. I mean, like what, 72% of users are on Facebook, 70% or 71% WhatsApp, WhatsApp will soon overtake Facebook, they predict, this year, just due to the accessibility of it, and the community side of it at the moment, so a lot of people are a little bit like, oh my God, there's so many people, I mean, I've even worked with people for 18 months and only managed to get them on social media like for 3 days out of the 7 because they were non-existent on it and we managed to introduce it into something that worked for them. So that's what I would kind of confirm and concur with yourself, Elaine, when talking about the social. It's social first, media second. Think about the value, and people buy from people. And you have to be on there because, it builds trust. People buy from know, like, and trust. So if they can't see you, they can't know you, they can't like you. So ultimately, they can't trust you. So my kind of mantra is, does your marketing, your brand represent know, like, and trust? Does your content present that? Does it educate? Does it entertain? Does it create emotion? Because most buying decisions are based on that, with the heart first and then the head second, or emotion first and justification second, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of that term in business. So get someone to have a look at your socials and your content, your blog writing, your videos, etc., and ask them the question, what does it represent? Can you tell me what I do? And see what that feedback is, and just, do you like that feedback? Is that how you want to represent yourself? And if not, go back to know, like, and trust when you're doing your content. The one thing I say to all my clients is the biggest top tip I give people is to look in your diary first. When you're trying to create social media content on the know, like, and trust. So, like today, I've shared that I'm podcasting with Elaine. I've shared that I'm presenting on Wednesday with some students at the iLab in Sheffield. With Jess, I've mentioned I'm networking, I'm delivering a webinar myself, and I'm public speaking on Thursday. And I've invited people to come to one of them if they wish, so they can know, like, and trust me. And I do that every week. And the amount of people that I'll say, great to see you busy, Zoe, or great to see that you're there, Zoe. I'll catch up with you then. Are you free after for a coffee? Happens more than you would think. So you never know what people are looking for, or how close to on the fence they are as well with your socials. But they can't come and engage with you if they don't know anything about you. Know, like, and trust. That's my mantra. This is what I say all the time. Do they know you? Do they like you? Do they trust you? And if they don't, why not? And let's change it. And it does 9 times out of 10 tend to be that they're hiding behind a logo a little bit, and they just need to kind of pop themselves. They can still have the logo there. They just kind of need to pop themselves next to it and say hi, and
So,
show up a little
so
bit more.
true. So true.
Yeah.
So true. Actually, I once upon a time, I used to hide behind a logo. And it was back in the day when I had a kids yoga business.
Mm-hmm.
Long story. And after I had
Learn
children,
something new,
and
guys. I didn't know she had that
I'll tell you that sometime over coffee.
before. Okay.
So it was called Enchanted Yoga, and I had I had the logo up on my social media. And during lockdown, I met a lovely coach, and she said to me, Elaine, so when people are scrolling on social media, who are they going to remember? You, who gave the class when they sat in the class in the hall with their kids, and you stood in front of them for the length of time, week after week, or a logo that has been created. And I was like, oh yeah, you could literally hear the penny drop. I was like, God, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
But like you said about the desert,
Hmm.
people buy from people, and if you have a business that is founded on a person, then
Yeah.
you must have that face.
Yeah.
You must have that face at the front of your business.
No, I agree. I mean, I know in certain professions, the logo and the brand is more important, in terms of legal or financial. But I remember working with an insurance broker in that space, and he used to call himself the insurance guy. And I used to say, that's great, love that brand, but where are you?
Yeah,
And he went, you've got a point. I went, if you're the insurance guy, where are you on your socials? And he went through the rebrand. He went with my personal brand photographer recommendation, and he transformed himself literally, in about 4 weeks. How he looked to how he positioned himself within a month was just simply incredible. Um, and you don't know until you know. You
yeah,
know, you don't know everything, guys. If you're listening to this in your business and you're thinking, God, this sounds overwhelming, it does because you're just starting.
yeah,
You may
yeah.
be
But it's
listening to this and be
possible.
quite established, but
Yeah,
if it feels overwhelming right now listening to this, don't worry, we've all been there. It's
yeah,
just about taking these top tips and just being a bit reflective in your own business, just like Elaine said, in terms of what do you think people want to see? Do they want to
yeah,
see a logo, or do they want to see someone they can know, like, and trust in their
yeah.
natural setting in business?
So true. Tell me, what's coming up for you for the next year? What's the dream for the next year?
So we do have some changes coming. More to be announced on that at the end of March on LinkedIn. But we're going a little bit back into project management. We take a project on every couple of years, from a minimum of 6 months to up to 2 years. And we've got something coming up on that line in terms of project management. So we're pushing workshop deliveries at the moment because those that may have followed our profile for a while, when we take a project on, our availability obviously reduces with one-to-one consultancy. But this year I've kind of put a little bit of a mission that I want to help the many, not the few. And that's where kind of the group side and the hub side is coming in. So the Ask Zoe strategy days are back in person. They used to be delivered online, but they're back in person now. We're delivering them once a quarter, and then subject to demand, we'll have the online option there if people would prefer in the alternative months. They're going to be delivered on Mondays, and then the hub is going to become more of the community that everybody who works with me will go into. So they gain access to the experts through, connection and the network that we've spoken about on today. And they get resources. So, they're not just going to the World Wide Web to find the answers to their questions or challenges in business. They can actually come and find a sustainable resource that's going to create impact within the business because they've been written or provided to by the experts that I work with. So yeah, really looking forward to that being more predominant this year.
Brilliant. Well, that leads me neatly to my final question is Zoe, the fabulous business consultant with a difference. How can people work with you?
No problem. So, as mentioned, guys, it all starts with a discovery call because one, I've got to find out what the problem is, or the challenge, or the opportunity is that you may need support with. So, just reach out at the website, which is askzoe.co.uk, and you'll find the book a call button in the top hand corner. Just book a call at a time that suits you. Obviously, April is coming up, so the availability will be less than March. So that's just a bit of a heads up. If you want to speak to me sooner rather than later, do get that booked in. Alternatively, if you're thinking, no, actually, I'm more of a workshop person, so I like working with people, I like communities and stuff, then just go onto my service page on the website under services, and you'll see everything you need to know about group coaching, the hub, and the Ask Zoe strategy days. And if that's of interest, guys, just reach out to me. Or Elaine knows me very well. She can put us in touch through email at hello@askzoe.co.uk, or you can DM me on my socials, which is AskZoe01.
Perfect. I will put the links somewhere here around this video. And thank you so much for joining me. And it's been an absolute pleasure.
You too, Elaine. Thanks again, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.